Well, I'm gonna use my laptop video, even though it's much lower quality than my phone, because it'll upload easier, and I don't have good internet now. So I've decided that I'm gonna at least play around with YouTube a little bit and see how it goes. But I'm gonna try to focus on function over form. So uh, having good content with deep thoughts and insights and useful information, as opposed to um, worrying much about the the details of this of the look of the video and having um, like movement and all the things that they say you should do in a video for best likes and most hits and all that sort of thing. I'm going to completely disregard and just see um, the site from its basically from its first principles, basically that it's a video sharing site, which I can do anything with. So I can put it into my own website and not have it on YouTube if I want to make it unlisted, or I can have it listed and then also do that. Um, I basically can see this as a less of follow the leader and more of a blank page with certain rules and certain guidelines that I do need to follow, but that the ones that are more of social and groupthink in a sense, I'm going to try to disregard, because I think the highest quality content on YouTube is not the stuff that gets the most likes. It's the things that have the most depth to it. So you know, and often that does get a lot of eyeballs at some point. But I think it takes longer, and I think that's more of my desire is to do a slow and steady growth over anything that's going to happen very quickly. Um, so the goal of this site is there's probably quite a few, but it's to mainly to share and give back to YouTube community, and just because it's done so much to help me find my way out of a dark place in my life. And I think that it's important for everybody who gets out of the tunnel to kind of turn on a light and help the next ones find their way. So the main focuses that I'm gonna probably be, the main subjects that I'm going to focus on will probably be something of like mainly computer programming, which is something that I'm focusing a lot on right now. Yoga, that I've been doing yoga since about 2014. I haven't been focusing on it as much as I'd like to right now, but I want to get back to it. It's just that I'm trying to get my hours up on work, so everything else is suffering to some degree right now. But yoga is very important. It's not just exercise; it's a system optimization. Um, it's basically like an algorithm, or a whole bunch of different types of algorithms that you can run uh, your system through. Basically, run the algorithm on your system as if you're a computer, and your system, your robotic body, whatever. You just have to. If you're thinking about it from a tech perspective, it's very much the way that yoga works, or the stuff that I've gotten most into, vinyasa flow. It's very balanced. It's very much to bring consciousness to all the parts of your body that usually don't get consciousness. So you're noticing the parts that are hurting that you wouldn't even have noticed before, because you're getting into those parts. usually don't even move in those ways, so you wouldn't have even noticed that there was an issue. And then that also brings blood flow to those areas. So there's a lot more intelligence and science involved in yoga than a lot of people really think. Um, and then there's also a really powerful philosophy related to it, related to the asanas is a part of the overarching yoga philosophy, which is much larger. But anyway, that's a different thing we'll get into later. Minimalism is another big thing, and minimalism goes with stoicism, which is also very interesting. And I've found a lot of great stuff, about that philosophy. But the thing that got me into minimalism in the first place was the minimalists, uh, Joshua Fields Milburn and Ryan Nicodemus. So they had a similar life experience to me, and around the same time. Although my childhood was very different, that we 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 all were maximalists who were just kind of trying to figure out a way to make ourselves happy while working our lives away. Um, so we just bought lots of stuff and made things worse. But so that's another big part that's helped me a lot. I mean, without that, I would not have been able to break the chains in my life and achieve the things that I've achieved in the way of just overcoming a lot of fear and anxiety and, and tough situations. And luckily, I've had some really good friends who've helped me out financially and emotionally and in a lot of just different ways. And um, so I couldn't have done it without the help. And then having my dog here has been amazing. So there's a lot of different angles that this channel is going to go. And I've decided to not have any real specific um, uh, channel outline or format, because I find that I'm kind of addicted to change. I need to continuously have things changing and morphing, and so if I box myself in, I'm gonna just not like it and I'm gonna avoid it. But if I kind of build evolution in from the start and say that you never know what you're gonna get, sort of a thing, I think I like that more. And it can be so basically there'll be all sorts of formats, it'll be all sorts of locations, um, and all sorts of different thoughts on all sorts of different subjects. So uh, this is the beginning of this, I guess. And to go on a little bit, I guess I'll cap it here in about a minute and a half. But I'll say that 5 years ago today, I lost my father, sadly, and it was really rough on me. Not only because I loved him and we were not in the best situation at the time, relationship wise, and unfortunately we, just it wasn't ideal. Could have been worse, could have been better. Uh, but then I also at that moment knew that my whole life was flipping upside down because of the situation that I knew was about to erupt in South Africa, where my family was. I was living in Florida, and my mother, father, and brother were all living together in one house in South Africa. So with my dad out of the picture, um, it's just like this talking I don't even know if I'll upload this, but talking about systems. He was a part of of a family system, so everything just went way out of whack, and everything had, everything. It's kind of like a rotating galaxy that gets hit by another galaxy and it just spins out of whack. It's all chaotic, and it's going to take a while to figure out what its final um, makeup is going to be when it stops being so chaotic. But that's anytime something major changes in a system, uh, usually there's a large amount of chaos involved and then a settling down. And that's what basically happened. And now, 5 years later, it has been a wild ride, to say the least. Things I think are starting for the first time to settle down, and I'm excited because things are a lot better for me than they were at that time. Um, my outlook on my future, the things I'm interested in, the way my the stuff my brain gets to play with on a daily basis, it's all just much better. My ability to be here with my mother, my dog's life, the fact that he's able to live such a good, wonderful life makes me happy. Um, so everything is pretty awesome. So just want to be grateful for how things have turned out, and that you know, it's you just got to stick it out. Try to take it slow. Don't try to force anything. Life happens, and I think the key thing that one of the main lessons that I've learned over the last few years, and is consciousness. It's about being conscious of what your situation is, where you are, who your friends are, who loves you, who hates you, who you know. Although certain people say certain things and certain things seem to be certain ways, you have to always question um, what the truth is in your life, and and so I think a lot of the time fear gets in the way because we're raised by the news and TV and all this sort of thing, and also the fear of our parents is kind of injected into us, and fears that they have, and so there's a lot of that has to be fixed. And fear is the enemy. There's no question about it. And there's a lot of ways to get into that, but we'll leave it at that for now. I will hopefully be back soon. All the best.